Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Gail Bliss. I would like to introduce Samba Baldeh, running for Senate in District 16. As we begin, I'd like you to give an opening statement as to the educational, vocational, and civic experience you have, which qualifies you for this office, and why you are running for the state Senate.
Thank you, Gail, and thank you to the Wisconsin League of Women Voters. I am very appreciative of this opportunity to have this conversation and to have this conversation, I should say, with you and also the voters. So like you said, my name is Samba Baldeh. I currently serve for represent Assembly District 48. So I have worked in corporate America for over 2 decades as an IT professional. I also have experiences in small businesses. So I currently run a grocery store in the eastern part of the city of Madison. I also have apartment units on my second floor that I house people who are formerly incarcerated, just to give them an opportunity to, stabilize themselves and get back to the realizing their full potential. So my experience is uniquely important in this race. As an immigrant, I have experienced what it means to come to this country, live here, and realize the American dream. My educational background and my volunteer services in the community. I love serving others. Since I got here over 2 decades ago, I've always been engaged in my community. I serve as a big brother. I've been doing that for more than 15 years. I also volunteer with the AIDS Network. So I take people who have HIV and AIDS to doctor's appointment, do laundry for them, groceries and things like that. I volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. So I love public service, and this is one reason why I am doing this. Prior to running for public office, I was an IT professional, making me some good amount of money. But at the end of the day, service to others is really where I get fulfillment, and the reason why I am running. I want to give people access to their government so they know exactly who's representing them and what they're advocating for them. So this is, among other things, is why I'm running. Our educational system, our prison system, our healthcare system, our economic development and job creations are all faced with different challenges. And so, being at the table, representing diverse communities, is really important to me and the reason why I am running.
Thank you. Is there any process you believe the Wisconsin legislature should put into place now for redistricting after the next national census?
So the redistricting, as you may know, in my belief, we now have a map that is very reflective of where the Wisconsinites are at and what they've been advocating over the last decade or so. So my expectation and hope is that whether it is Republicans or Democrats who are in charge, we should do what the people want us to do. And that is those maps that are reflective of the will of the people. They shouldn't be political maps, so one party or the other is advantage. So I would hope and expect that no matter who is in power come the next 10 years, the people's map is what will be represented out there.
Thank you. What issues, if any, do you think you could work on effectively in a bipartisan manner in the next legislative session?
So one of the biggest challenges that we have in the state of Wisconsin is, clean water. Water is polluted with PFAS, and that is very important to me. The environment, the climate is changing every day. We see extremely hot weather. We also see extreme rains and things like that. So the climate is changing. We need to have a comprehensive environmental plan. But also, like I said, PFAS is a problem. The food that we eat, the water that we drink need to be clean. Reproductive right is very, very important to me. For me, it is freedom. I came from a country where, not everything is free to the extent here in the United States. So that would be high priority. We also need to educate our kids. Without that, we cannot compete in with the rest of the states in the United States, but also the world. And so the world is becoming very competitive. So educating our kids, making sure that they have all the tools that they need to realize their potentials is super duper important to me. Healthcare, we cannot afford to have our senior citizens particularly not have access to affordable healthcare. Many of them are on fixed income. How do we make sure that every Wisconsinite has access to quality healthcare? One thing that is also very important to me is the right to raise the right for collective bargaining. Look, this country is what it is because of unions and the quality of work that they bring to the table. And so these are some priorities that I will. Housing. Housing is another challenge. Wisconsin is one of, particularly Dane County area, is one of the most expensive places in the state. I will work hard to make sure that affordability is in place. I know some of the local municipalities, particularly the city of Madison, is trying to work on zoning rules to make sure that density and all this other stuff are increased, to make sure that housing is affordable and accessible to every resident of the state of Wisconsin.
What role, if any, do you think the legislature should have in addressing conditions in Wisconsin's state prisons?
So our prison system is broken. We incarcerate more than twice what people who are incarcerated in Minnesota, our neighboring state, for example. We still send people to prison for smoking pot, while almost all our neighboring states are not incarcerating people, even for recreational marijuana or something. We have to reform. Prison is supposed to be a correctional institutions where we help people to reform themselves and come back into community and be productive members of society. We must make sure that we build a modern prison system where people can live and be rehabilitated. We saw what happened in Waupun, where some inmates died, as a result of shortage of staff and all this other stuff. If we don't reform our prison system, these things will continue to happen. So I think the state should invest in terms of really helping these people when they come out. One thing that I did was to sponsor a legislation that would make sure that when people are incarcerated, they still have connections with the rest of the world. So that way they are getting themselves ready when they come out, so that they are not going back to prison again, pick up jobs and be able to be productive members of society. Talking the talk, walking the walk is why in my, as a business owner, I have apartment units that mainly house people who were incarcerated, to give them opportunity to settle down and things like that. And I think the state should do more of this. Let's help these people be rehabilitated so they can come back and never go back to prison. Also, let's stop imprisoning people for technical reasons. When people are on parole, they come out late for an appointment. You are not at this place. You are supposed to be there 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you're going back to prison for a very long time. We should stop that and make sure that people are given the opportunity to rehabilitate themselves and be productive members of society. The state can do this.
Thank you. What role do you think the state legislature has in ensuring successful outcomes for all students, including those with disabilities?
Yeah, so we are really underfunding special education, and that has a ripple effect on the whole educational system. The state must fund special education. The state must fund education generally, K through 12. Our kids are our future. If we don't educate them, we cannot compete with the rest of the world. We cannot compete with other states. So the state has to invest more money in terms of educating our kids. This last legislation session and a prior one, I advocated for additional funding. I serve on the local government as a ranking member, make sure that local government are funded, but also that funding to schools has increased. So that is a priority, and the state promise is about 60% of funding. And so they must meet that promise for us to move forward and be successful. Higher education must be affordable. We cannot afford to graduate our kids with a high amount of death on them that reduce their ingenuity, their ability to be curious and be innovative. We got to make sure that we are not stifling our future generations just because we are making education basically not affordable to the average American.
Thank you. Are there any steps you believe the legislature should take to further address mental health and substance abuse disorders?
Yeah, so again, this comes to funding. These are challenges. We know what is out there. We should fund mental health challenges, provide services to people who need them, both in our mental health institutions, our schools, provide services. The government, the state of Wisconsin can do that. So I think additional funding to these institutions is really important.
Thank you. What other priorities do you have for your term in office?
So the one of the highest priorities that I have is to make sure that reproductive right is a thing, that women can choose and do whatever they want to do. My priority would be to advocate and make sure that our minority groups like LGBTQ are protected, their rights are protected. This is the freest country in the whole world. We cannot afford to not protect our population. The other priority is housing. We want to make sure that every American, every Wisconsinite have a place to live and be able to afford that. We must have to educate our kids. It is important that we educate our kids so we can be competitive, but also be innovative. So these are high priority. Special education, I alluded to that, is important that we provide services to our people who are struggling. Our senior citizens, many of them are in fixed income. How is it that we come together to make sure that we are not increasing property taxes, or even if we are, that senior citizens on fixed income can afford this. Our prison system, like I said, is broken. We need to fix it and make sure that when people are out of prison, they don't go back there anymore. They are productive members of society. But also as an immigrant, I think it is important that we, through our congressional delegation, advocate for common sense immigration reform. Also, our kids are struggling now in schools. When I immigrated here over 2 decades ago, schools were safe. Kids can go to school safely and not worry about gun violence and things like that. We need to fix our gun issues, make sure that we have common sense guns laws out there so that we are all safe, we all feel safe, and go to school and go to movie theaters and do what Americans do best without the fear that somebody is going to come in with a gun and do something that is dangerous or bad. So these are some of the priorities I would advocate as soon as I get back, to the Capitol, things that I have been doing over the last many years. Business is also important as a small business owner. So I also serve on the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, creating opportunities for business owners, whether big business or small business. I think that is the economic engine of this state, is really helping small businesses to grow and provide some of the services that we need. Since I've been elected, I've been advocating for support for Wisconsin businesses to expand beyond the state of Wisconsin. I will continue to do that and make sure that our economy is growing. People have opportunities to employment. Women have the freedom to live life the way they see fit, and every Wisconsinite live life the way they see fit. And so those would be my primary focus if I get elected.
Thank you. What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
So first of all, I would like to say thank you to you, the Wisconsin League of Women Voters, to District 17, the city District 17, that first gave me the opportunity to win an election in this state of Wisconsin. To District 48, the people that I represent right now, I want to say thank you to all of them for giving me the opportunity to serve them. And now to the state of Wisconsin, all of you, thank you for the opportunity to serve. If I win this election, I'm looking forward to serving you even more and bigger and better. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity to do that. It is also important, America is a beacon of hope for people like us who left our country, everything we knew, to immigrate here. And so we cannot afford to lose our democracy. We cannot afford to lose who we are as a people. We got to be serious about the issues that we face out there. If we are not serious, the rest of the world is serious. So I count on you to do what is right, and I count on you to go out there, August 13th and vote. Go out there in November and vote. Otherwise, our democracy is subleased to politicians. So, and also I ask for your vote. It is important that we diversify our representation. I am a candidate. I have been a representative who works across aisle. When I was at the city council as council president, I brought people together and made things happen. As a leader within the Legislative Black Caucus, that's what I do daily basis, bring us together, tackle issues that are important to our people, to our communities, to the greater good. And so I am looking forward to your support. I'm looking forward to your vote, but I'm also looking forward to your civic engagement as we go through this process. So thank you to all of you for the opportunity to serve you and potentially for the opportunity to continue to serve you. But let's keep engaged and let's keep our democracy going, and let's keep hope going for the American people, but particularly for Wisconsinites.
I want to thank Samba Baldeh for speaking with us and thank the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone that primary election day is Tuesday, August 13th, and the general election is Tuesday, November 5th. Every election is important. Please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.